Hello, my dear friends. I am back with another myth to be busted. Are you ready? Let's go. I'm sure that we have come across various people in our life who are debating about the thumb and its flexibility. There are people who have got straighter thumb, and there are people whose thumb can bend really far back to 90 degrees. There is a name for them. They are called as Hitchhiker Thumb holder or Hitchhiker's thumb. Hitchhiker thumb can be in one hand or in both hands. In 1953, Glass and Kistler were determined to find out how many people have straight thumb and how many have bent thumb or hitchhiker's thumb. They thought that there are only two categories, and straight thumb was more dominant than hitchhiker's thumb. So the gene which had got these allele or the mutations were only mutating in two varieties, according to them. So they did a study and they found out that there were people who had the recessive trait, but they were just carriers. And when the mother and the father copulated, they produced an offspring which had both the recessive allele, forming hitchhiker's thumb. However, there were simultaneously a few studies done which proved that there are not just two but many types of thumbs, and they vary from 0 degrees to 90 degrees, the median being from 30 to 50 degrees of range of motion. Hence, there are most people who reside in the range of motion of the distal part of the thumb bending from 30 degree to 50 degree. The myth was that if both the parents don't have the flexibility in the top part or top joint of the thumb, how does the child has? Is there some conspiracy, or is the child not theirs? Well, that myth was busted by the following researches that happened. So, one myth gone. Some Vedic astrologers and personality trait experts believe that people who have got straight thumb, they are logical, they are more rational, they have got good decision making, they have good willpower, unwavering, they are kind-hearted, they are good at decision making, good leaders, they are good to be around because they can sense danger faster and they can take quicker action. While the people who have got curved thumb or flexible thumb, they are highly emotional, they are having an EQ which is very far from taking care of their own self or being more focused on themselves. They get into situations which put them into emotional distress faster. They are quite empathetic. They get very easily adaptable to a newer situation, and they are usually there for the people whom they care. However, I feel that the thumb's flexibility might not be something that is a factor or a character certificate for somebody or a deemed personality trait definer. What do you think? How I got intrigued with this topic was because of the myths associated. I have heard many times people saying जिनका थंब मुड़ता नहीं है वो बहुत ज़िद्दी होते हैं, and जिनका मुड़ जाता है वो नहीं होते. I have seen many contradictory examples in my life, hence I declare it as a myth. So second myth busted. Let's talk about the medical side of hitchhiker thumb. Now there are people who have hitchhiker thumb in one or both hands. They usually have no pain and their hand function is quite good. However, there are people who have got a disorder called as dystrophic disorder. It is a recessive trait, and their parents were having this recessive gene in them, so they were the carrier. And when they mated, their child had both the recessive trait, which became a disorder for the child, unfortunately. Now, these children are usually short in height, they have got short arms, short legs, their spine has got usually curved or curvatured disorders, and they do have hitchhiker's thumb, you might have seen. Another condition is called as hypermobility spectrum disorder or double jointed disorder. What is the meaning of this? Hypermobility spectrum means that more than one area in your body is having hypermobility, or maybe 2 or 3 or 7 or the entire body. Such people have an advantage of becoming an athlete or a dancer, but otherwise it might be difficult for them, especially to stabilize their body or to feel more strength. Such people usually find it difficult to balance themselves as their each joint has got more range than the standard range of motion expected out of that joint. They might develop chronic fatigue or chronic pain or any other kind of disability wherein there is deformity developing. One of this disorder spectrum is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This is an inherited disorder which suggests lack of collagen. Collagen makes up basically everything in our body, the ligaments, the cartilage, the joint, the bone, everything. So lack of that can really affect this person's stability in various activity of life. These patients usually have joint hypermobility, sometimes leading to chronic pain. They have early onset of osteoarthritis. They might be exposed to osteoporosis. Their skin is really very stretchy and it bruises very easily. So these are certain things that might indicate that you might have this syndrome. Why don't you visit your healthcare provider to discuss this further? There are people with RA, rheumatic arthritis, an autoimmune disorder wherein your own immunity is fighting against your own body. It's kind of eroding the bone layer, the cartilage layer, the ligament, the tendon, the muscle, and it's causing inflammation. It's a chronic inflammatory disorder, and that sometimes patients who are having RA, rheumatic arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, do have hitchhiker's thumb. Maybe in one hand, maybe in both hands, but it will be painful. So these are the conditions that might have hitchhiker's thumb that might be painful. Otherwise, hitchhiker's thumb is a point where you can flaunt to other people that I am this flexible. Are you? Yes, hitchhiker's thumb holder are people who can bend the thumb, the distal joint, to 90 degrees. I can't, clearly. Neither of the thumb. Well, one does more than the other. What about you? Show me.